have a presentation and then we'll do our geometric patterns, right? So this is just presentation, so just enjoy because there are a lot of slides and photographs. I'm going to talk about geometry in Jalis of Indo-Islamic architecture. So I'm going to kind of transport you to India and let's go and see the different kinds of Jalis which are there in the different rulers who made those Jalis, different dynasties who made those Jalis. At any given point of time, if I'm going too fast, you all are not able to understand, please stop me. I will repeat it again. Yeah, please feel free to stop because I tend to talk fast and I don't realize if the person is able to understand or not. Yeah, so please feel free to stop me. Yeah. So, what is Jali? Right? Jali is, that term Jali comes from Indian word, Hindi word Jal, which is net or lattice. It's generally perforated. The screen is perforated, so you can see through and through from the screen. That's Jali in a very simple words to explain. And now in Indo-Islamic architecture, it has been very intricately carved. So you see a lot of floral, geometric motifs in that screen which is being carved. Yeah. So there are 5 reasons why you see Jalis in India per se. Number 1, it helps to filter light. So if you have a Jali here, it kind of breaks the sunlight from coming inside. India is very hot. The sun rays are very harsh. So when you have a screen like this, which is perforated, it kind of cuts the sunlight which enters into your space. Also, during different times of days, you will find different patterns created on the shadow, which falls on the floor. You will find different kinds of patterns because of the detail which you see it in the Jali. That is one. And even in the night, at that time, there was no electricity. So you used to have light inside. So people from outside could see a little shiny thing because through those screens. The next reason is it allows air circulation, right? So again, it's hot and there are hot winds which move. And because of these perforations, it kind of cools and enters your space. So most of the monuments will always have a water body around it, like a lake or a small pond or a fountain. And when the wind passes through it and enters your space through Jalis, it cools down. And you get like a very cool air inside. That's one of the reasons why you have the perforations are very small in there. Okay. The stone curtain. So in India, lot of times where the king or the queen has to see what's happening outside, but they can't just go out and see it. So this kind of Jali helps them to kind of see what's going outside, but the outside people can't see who is watching them. So sometimes there is some discussion happening at a court, so the queen can overlook it, can hear it, and all of that can happen because of this screen which is there. Then patterns. So then it's not just net, it's not just a grid which you see. There are a lot of floral, lot of geometric patterns which add beauty to that space, right? It can just be a simple net, but adding a rosette or adding some geometric motifs can kind of make that entire wall very beautiful. So that's one of the reasons. And secondly, it is not just windows. You see geometry in railings, in balconies, even in screens with like partitions within the spaces as well. So it very easily blends in the design of that space. As you can see here, you can see Jalis happening here, you can see on the railings, on the top part as well. Yeah, so this is how, it's not just used where the windows are. It's also used in the railings and balconies as well. So how I have structured the presentation is that I'm going to take you across from the 12th century till the 18th century in India, present India. And we're going to look at different dynasties, different rulers, what kind of architecture was there, and what kind of jalis are there in that particular architecture, and how the jalis have been evolved till the latest 18th century, which is where the Mughal architecture comes in. Okay, they kind of cracked it. I think they detailed it to a next level when it came to jalis. So the first part was the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, I'll quickly go through because each segment, if I take, I can talk about it for hours. You know, it's that huge history we are dealing with. So Delhi Sultanate had 5, one after the other rulers. So you have Mamluk, you have Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq, Sayyid, and you had Lodi. Lodi dynasties was the one where Babur fought, and that's where he entered. He came to India. Okay, this is at one point of time, this is the area which the Delhi Sultanate covered at its time. Just to give you a geographical context of the map. Yeah? What kind of architecture is still there today is Qutub Minar complex. Okay, here you don't have much of jalis because at that time the political struggle, there was a lot of political instability, there were constant attacks happening. So it was very rare that you find any architecture which is sustained over the period of time. And Qutub Minar is one of it. Okay, there are other places in Delhi, but this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here, over the period of time, there are other sultanates have also added to it. So it might have started at one period, but it completed in another period. So you see variation in architecture as well. Okay, so this is how, and there is a beautiful calligraphic carving which is there in the minar. It was a victory tower, but then it became a minaret. And this is how it looks presently. This is the jali which it has. The only jali seen here is the 6-pointed star and the hexagon around it. I think we just did that. So this is the jalis which you see here with intricately carved, calligraphically carved borders around it. And this is the effect it gets from the inside, you know. The next, we move to another timeline parallel to it. So they are coexisting it. It's not that one period is ended and the other period has started. They're all happening simultaneously. This is the Sultanate in the other part of the regions. They are not as big as the Delhi one, but they are small provinces and you have those Sultanates ruling there. So this is Gujarat Sultanate, which I would talk about, again to give you a context where it is present. It's very small in scale. And there it has different kinds of architecture which you would see. So this is Sarkej Roza. It is built by the grandson of Sultan Ahmad, on whom Ahmedabad is named after. And he built it as a Sufi saint. For a Sufi saint, he built those mausoleum, which is right what you see at the back. And even he was buried here, which you can see. There's a plan which I have here for just to give you the context. This part is what you see here as a backdrop. This is a pavilion which you see on this part. And then there will be other images which I would show. There is a huge lake over here. And this is the Jama Masjid which they have built. So it's a whole complex which they built. He started it, but his other successors have completed it in a similar style. Now, this is 2 columns of stone, and this is a grid. So technically, they could have stopped doing something like this, but they started detailing these grids. So you had patterns within that smaller squares which you see. Okay, something like this, different kinds. So there were circular squares, there were just these subdivided grids. There was not much geometry or geometrical patterns involved, but there were basic shapes which were used together to form this kind of a screen, as you can see. And this followed everywhere, right? So the next thing you would see is you would find them everywhere. On all the entire skin of that building is what you see, something like this. This is the inside, this is the outside of it. Okay, So it creates a very different experience once you see it, and then when you enter it, it's a different feeling altogether. Okay, so this is how all across you can go all around it, and this is the kind of Jaali is what you see there. And some more. This is the view from outside. This is that lake I was talking about, and that is the skin. So from outside, you will not know that there is this screen because it's generally dark, and you can see some texture. But when you enter, you realize that those are perforated screens, and the light is passing through it. Yeah. Then this is the Sufi saint's tomb. And again, this also follows it. This is the present day photos, like I have clicked it a couple of years ago. So I'm sure that where those arches are, I assume there would have been those lattice work with Jaalis in it. Right now it's not, but I'm sure it must have been. These are some of the photographs. So the entire skin is covered with this style. Yeah. Some more. The next, in the same Gujarat Sultanate, was another place outside of Ahmedabad area called Champaner. Again, under the same Sultanate. There also they built a lot of, it was a royal residence complex. Again, it came under Mughal after some period of time. And there also you will find this kind of very heavy carvings. And you will have Jaalis over there at the entrance portal. Something like this is the dome. It could have been a dome. Right now it's not there. But then you can see the geometry being evolved. Now you can clearly the geometry in those patterns. You're able to identify a hexagon. You're able to identify an octagon which is there. So it's getting more clearer. It's getting more specific when it comes to geometry in these patterns. Yet it follows the very same language that you will find that same space, a screen, subdivided into those grids, and then you have patterns within it. Yeah. The next is Siddhi Sayyid Masjid. I think it's one of the most beautiful mosques in Ahmedabad. It's it's designed and commissioned by Siddhi Sayyid, who was a Habshi, who was a tradesman who came there and he decided to build a mosque under again the Gujarat Sultanate. And this is the layout. This is the plan you see. There are minarets here and there are these 5 bays. This is where the wall is, where you pray towards. And yeah, this is a very simple layout. And it's open, like what you see over here. But it has a wonderful Jaali on the back side, on that wall which you see. So here you again see the arch. It's not completely throughout. You see an arch, and that arch is subdivided. Again, the same style which they are following. And here you see a wonderful motif, which is called the Tree of Life. And it's only seen in this particular mosque. There's no other mosque where you find this Tree of Life. Yeah, and this is how the effect is from inside, and this is how it looks from outside. I think it's so intricately done. It's the date tree, which is also very significant, and this is how they have designed it. Similarly, there are 2. This is that one, and the other one is something like this. It's beautiful. It's very floral in its thing, and it's and also you can see there are some parts of it which is very thick, the bark of the tree, which also becomes a structural aspect to hold the screen together, because otherwise you had those grids, right? But here you don't. So this particular plant, the thickness of it adds more strength to that entire thing. So I think this is one of the most beautiful thing. It's also one of the college's logo because they liked it. This is stone, yeah. All of the Jaalis that I'm talking till now is stone Jaalis. Yeah. So this is yellow sandstone, which is available in the Rajasthan area, and they use that for their construction. Yeah. The next is Hazira Maqbara. This is again under Gujarat area. This was commissioned by the Mughal. So you see that the style in which it is designed is very Mughal architecture. I will again come to Mughal architecture a little later, and you will be able to relate to that. But the details of it is very regional, right? So all the craftsmen who have worked on these architectural spaces are local people who work there, and they are generally Hindu, Jain, Muslim craftsmen. So you will find that they will have a very strong regional influences in the architecture which you find, right? So you will find that the overall architecture is Islamic, but the details of it, you will find a little mix or a synergy in that. Yeah. So this is what it looks. It's an octagonal tomb, but when you zoom in, when you detail it out, you can see those screens in a similar language what we have been seeing so far. Yeah, this is what it is. Again, here the geometry is still getting refined, still getting a little clear. The next, we move to a next state, which is Mandu Sultanate, which is a neighboring state of Gujarat. Again, here you have the settlement, Mandu Fort, and then you have a settlement within it, where you have the tombs and the masjids and everything which is situated. So similarly, here also you would find Jaali, which is there. See, the geometry is very visible. You can see it is a hexagon which is being present there with a little floral on the top. They are not there everywhere, but wherever they are very clear in the geometrical language which they have. Okay, this is another one. Next to that masjid, which is on the back side, is a tomb. This is the first marble tomb in India. It's a Hoshang Shah's tomb, which was the Sultan of Mandu at that period of time. And you will see you can see those three windows there, three screens there, which has these geometrical patterns. Again, same grid work, and they have filled in. Okay, and it's very clear now. So you can see they are all hexagonal geometrical patterns which are there. Also notice, this is how it looks from inside. Also notice how that arch has a border to it, which is also perforated. So it kind of highlights the Jaali or the screen which is there, right? So you can see this, it kind of highlights the edge of it. And again, you can see that the geometry is now very, very clear. These are the few images. This is how it looks. So whenever you see a dark photo like this, I'm taking it from inside, and whenever you see the material, it's from the outside. So they are not black and white photos, but yeah. So this is how it looks from the outside. The next, I'll go down to south. We have come in the central part of India, which we covered. Now we come down to south. South had Bahmani Sultanate. It was one of the rulers from the Delhi Sultanate who parted his ways and he explored the south. But that also couldn't last because of the large kingdom, and they had internal issues. So they split into 5 again, which is the Deccan Sultanate. And then Deccan is south, Dakhan you call it. And again there you have the 5 dynasties which are there in different kinds of places around it. And each one has their own rule and their own tombs and mosques which they have built over the period of time. To give you a context, this is where the southern part of India is where the Deccan Sultanate is. Also look at the timeline. So there are a lot of overlaps which have happened. So there is the Delhi Sultanate which is happening on top. Maybe they are declining at a point. The Deccan Sultanate is coming. So they are all coexisting. So all these kind of constructions are happening simultaneously, right, in their own rule. Yeah.
All India?
Yeah. India. I'm talking India, yeah.
No, I mean, this map is all India?
Yeah. No, the blue one is where the Deccan Sultanate is.
Okay, I know. But India.
Yes, the green one is India. Yeah. The same, south, the one marked in blue. Yeah, they divided themselves. Same, they are same. Okay, this is the kind of architecture they have. This is Gol Gumbaj, supposed to be the second largest dome in the world. It has a diameter of approximately 44 meters. It's that huge. And it's not a double dome, which you see in Mughal architectures, to kind of give a humanized scale to it. So you feel like an ant when you're inside that space. It's huge. It doesn't look here, but it is. Then the next is, this is the Jama Masjid, and this is the Mihrab. And there is something very interesting, if you notice, on the top over there, is where you see a jali, but it's in calligraphy. So over here in Deccan Sultanate, you won't find much jali patterns which are there, which can be discussed on a platform like this. There are there as per the needs, few hexagonal jalis you would see which they have covered. But this is very interesting because here you find a calligraphy jali, which when I traveled, I didn't find anywhere else in India per se. This is another example called Ibrahim Rauza. So this is the plinth, common plinth you see. Rauza means tomb. So Ibrahim is one of the successors and his tomb. So on one side is the tomb and on the other side is a mosque. So it's a very unique typology of architecture you see here. And while I was there, I didn't notice, but this side is where you have a calligraphic jali here. This one. And it's something like this. It's broken, but I found on Google, but it's something like this. And it's one of the things, I didn't see it. I have not seen something like this anywhere else. So I thought I should add this because I think it's very interesting how they have carved it out. Rest, you can see there are windows, there are wooden windows here instead of jalis, but they have used a calligraphy one on the top. Stone. So far, all what I'm talking about are stone jalis. If you all want, I'll share the PPT with you guys. It's a little heavy, but I'll share it. Yeah. The next one, this is one of my favorites. It's Pega tombs. This again, if you see, it's around 18th century. So Mughals are almost declining by then. But since we are in the same region, I thought I'll cover it at this time. Pegas were the noble family who served the Nizams. So they were not of the higher authority, but they were equally in their circle. And they have made the tomb. It is so unique with geometric patterns that it has one of the best collections of geometry. So you can see this is how the fine details are. And these are the kind of geometry you see, very complex. They are not subdivided. If you see the earlier ones which we saw in Gujarat, is the whole complete jali, right? Is the whole complete screen which is there. They are not subdivided, and there's just one pattern, one screen. There is no mix of patterns or something like that. Very unique in its thing. You have jali as a screen. You also have, these are the kinds of jalis which I'll show you. Different, very unique. Something like this. More patterns. And they are, I think, around 90% all hexagonal patterns. So it's like an iteration or variation of hexagonal geometry is what you would see here in this. Now, there are some parts where you have marble which is carved into jalis, and some areas there is stucco. Stucco is a material which is lime, sand, water. It's kind of mixed together, put it on the wall or a surface, and it hardens, and then you carve it. So some places you would see this. So this is one of the examples where you find stucco as used as jalis also. So you can see here, if it is maybe in the next image I can, yeah. You see it's not very clear. Also there is restoration work going on here, so it's in a very bad state. I hope they do a good job. But here you can understand from the texture or the grains that it is not marble. It's a different material which they have used. Yeah. And this was one of the analysis which we did in Professor Mirik's class on, we did almost all the Pega tombs, jalis of all the Pega tombs, and this is how I have kind of composed it into one sheet, like an illustration of it. So these are the types of jalis, and they are all derived from hexagonal geometry. So the next comes the mighty Mughals. I think. This is at one point of time they were taken over the entire rule in India. Of course, when Mughals were there, the Deccan Sultanate was also there. The Gujarat Sultanate was also there. All of them were there, but they kind of negotiated. They kind of came under the Mughal rule. Okay, so you will find examples of that in architecture also, which are like that Maqbara which I had shown you in Gujarat, which was built under the Mughal rule, but it was there in Gujarat. So there are a lot of these examples which you would see, but at one point, yeah, they did cover the entire India. And yeah. So this is a very interesting saying about Mughals, is like they built like giants, but they finished like jewelers. Which means that whenever you see a Mughal architecture, it's huge. They're very big, and from far you will not notice the details which they have. Once you come closer, you will realize how beautiful those details are, especially Taj Mahal. From far, if you notice, you will just see white marble. But when you go closer, you will see the inlay work which they have done. So this is what it means that they design like giants, but they finish like jewelers. One of the most popular examples is what I'm going to show you. This is Humayun's tomb, which was built by his wife, but Akbar was equally involved because he was the successor. I hope you all know a little bit. It started with Babur, who entered India on the Battle of Panipat, where the Lodhi dynasty of Delhi Sultanate, where he fought the war. And he entered. He went to Agra. He stayed there for 4 years. Unfortunately, he passed away. And there was no heir or his successor who was decided at that time. So Humayun became the obvious one, but he had other brothers because of whom they had a lot of internal wars. So for a brief period of time, Humayun had to leave India and go to Iran, Iran, to kind of get help so that he can come back and take the throne. So for a very brief period, there was no Mughal rule in India. It was led by Shah Suri, it's another Afghan ruler. And once he came back, he took over the throne. And within a couple of years, he passed away. So they never really got a chance to build something, which can kind of create an identity of Mughal architecture. That happened during Akbar. When Akbar was sat on the throne at a very earlier age, he started commissioning projects. He started building projects. He started having good relations and expanding his kingdom. And that's how it works. That's how he wanted to build something for his father, a tomb which can be of that scale to display power. Because eventually, if you have money, if you want to show power, you build something that big, So that's what all the Mughal structures from now on, which you would see, are very extra in scale, And they have maintained it. The details are there. So this is how the Humayun tomb, this is on the platform, okay? So this photo is taken where I'm standing here. This is the plinth. So you walk up almost 3.5, 4 meters, which is like one story. And this is a huge plinth. And the tomb is here inside this. And if you can see, this is the human here, the one in the white. So see the scale of this particular structure. And so the jalis in this particular monuments are not throughout, like what you saw in the earlier examples. They are like from floor to ceiling. Here they are not, because you can't have that bigger jalis. So here they have very, very strategically detailed out in which the humans can pass through, right? So whenever I'm there inside the structure, it is there at my eye level. So I can experience the light coming in. I can have that kind of experience when I travel. Yeah, so you can see that they are very much in control of the scale when it comes to Jali, when you have that bigger volume. And very clear in geometry. Now all the Jalis you would see till Jahangir period of time will be purely geometrical. Yeah, so and again very interestingly, they have created a small window and added another Jali in it, which kind of gives a nice variation to that surface. Okay, these are the two different types. Again, this is from the inside. You can also see flooring patterns over here. And this is from the outside, the same Jaali pattern from the outside. The material used here is red sandstone. So all the Mughal structures are in red sandstone. Very clean in geometry. Okay, they are absolutely clear in how the geometry has been done. It's again based on hexagon with a slight variation, if you notice. The next is the famous tomb of Akbar. It's based in Agra, Sikandara, a little away from the main Agra city. Again here, this is the compound wall. But very interestingly, over here, you notice a Jaali which is something like this. So there is no word to it, but I call it nested geometry, which means that there is one main pattern and there is another geometric pattern which sits or nests under inside it. Okay, this is my terminology, so yeah, because there's no other word for this. So if you notice, this is how the main Jaali is, right? They could have left it like that, but they added more detail by adding another one, like another thin, refined patterns in it, following the same, like the same framework. Like if you draw this one, you add extra lines and you will create the pattern which is there inside as well. So this is how they kind of innovated in their patterns. And you'll find many examples from here onwards where you'll find this kind of this kind of Jaalis which is seen. This is Akbar's tomb once you enter. A very different style. He started the construction of it. He did not get along with his son. So he was not sure if Jahangir Salim would build his tomb. So he said, I'll start it. What if he doesn't? But Jahangir did complete it. So by the time the tomb work had started, he passed away. And then Jahangir, his son, completed the tomb. So the top part, if you see, there is marble, which is used on the top of it. That is done by Jahangir. So this is what I mean, that when one empire, when one emperor starts, it need not necessary that the project is completed in his lifetime. It gets continued by another, and you can make out the difference, because then that successor would try to put his kind of signature on it. Thank you. Yeah. So again, again you can see those nested geometries which are there, you know, that some part which are very evident and there are in-betweens which are filled. A little clearer image, which was again hexagons, octagon, similar families. Same thing, here both are there. So here it is that frame within a frame and also the nested geometry which is seen. Now this is what I mean, how geometry is used on a surface. You could have left the surface blank, but they did inlay work which is there, which you can see the pattern. They also had this relief work where you carve on the surface, which is this. This is all geometric. There is some floral patterns here. And also there is Jaali which is here, which probably acted like a vent because this was a staircase. Yeah, so this is how they kind of dematerializes the surface. You just don't keep it blank. You kind of detail it, you know, so that, yeah, and it's one material again. It's only red sandstone and a marble which is used as inlay work in this. The next famous royal residency which Akbar built was Fatehpur Sikri. I think it's one of the very popular tourist destination. This is what he built. It's an entire royal complex where he stayed, his wife stayed. There was a small bazaar. There was Diwane Khas, Diwane Aam. So these are all places, courts, which is required in a royal residency. Okay, and then these are the kind of geometry you see in those Jaalis. When I mentioned in the first slide that geometry is not just on the screens, you know, it's also there on the railings, it's also there on balconies. This is what it is. So there you will find plenty of examples of simple geometry, clean geometry, which has been seen here. Okay, this is inside Diwane Aam, where you have like a huge pillar where he sits, where he walks through this bridge and he'll sit there, and then his important wazirs and all will sit and they'll have a discussion. Okay, again, see how it has been ornamented, I would say. And then these are the few. This is a pavilion in the center where Tansen used to sing, and there was a water body all around. And see, it kind of creates a new language in that space. You know, they could have left it like a blank stone slab there, but they choose to detail it out, and this is how they're doing it. So I think this is what they meant, that they finished like dwellers. Like, this is another, I think one of his queen's palaces, and this is how they have detailed it out. Simple patterns, but it just adds another beauty to the space. Yeah. Again, this is how they have used, this is again in one of the palaces on the top floor. They have used it on the balcony of that particular space. Okay, now next to that particular place is, next to Fatehpur Royal Palace is another Jama Masjid and a tomb of Salim Chishti, who was a Sufi saint. And Akbar believed, because he was not getting an heir, so he went, he worshipped, Jahangir was born, so he decided to build like this particular town, Fatehpur Sikri, over there. It was not geographically viable because it's away from Agra, where his main residency is. So after a few years, I think he moved back, and now it is just in ruins and it's a tourist destination. Yeah. So this is the kind of jalis is what you see there. So there are a lot of tombs over there which are buried. So there is like a colonnade space, and you will find jalis which are now very intricate. Pure geometrical jalis is what you would explore here. Okay, and these are all done in red sandstone. So these are the kind, this is the palette of jalis. Again, you can see the arch. They are also subdivided, but look at the complexity of the jalis. You know, it's more rectangular. It has that one pattern which is repeated multiple times. So this is what you would see here in all of these. Of course, they are repeated. Like you can see, these ones are repeated. This is same, this is same, this is same. It's identical, symmetrical. But there are many of this type. Yeah. These are the kind of details, or the craftsmanship is what you get to see. Yeah. This is another one. This is how the setup is. So this one in red, in marble is the Salim Chishti's tomb, which he built. And surrounding is the Jama Masjid and other tombs. These are the kind of details. The entire tomb is in marble, and it's intricately carved. So this is the marble bracket. Brackets are the kind of extended supporting the roof. And even in the bracket is where you see the jalis. Can you see here? It's perforated within and it's one piece apparently is what is being told. So they have intricately designed it. This is the internal view you get. Entire shrine is kind of heavily decorated, and it's a shrine, so a lot of people visit it. So it's very humble in scale, it's not very huge. It has this entire geometrical jali envelope where people kind of go around it as a religious worship. And this is how it is. So you can see it checks all the 5 boxes which we discussed first, you know, in terms of light, in terms of circulation, in air circulation, in terms of visual connect also. So you can see what is outside, but you will not see what is going on inside. And again, very intricately carved. You can see rosettes there. This is a very interesting because it's octagon, and you will see pentagons which are here, which are elongated. So this is an octagon surrounded by pentagons, and then you have stars within it. Another very different kind of jali. These are another few examples. Again here, you can see hexagon. This is Agra Fort, from where you can see the Taj Mahal which is there. Taj Mahal does not have many geometrical patterns actually. It has more of calligraphy and inlay work. Even if there is geometry, it is more of hexagonal geometry. That's it on the screen. So it's not much of geometrical. So you can see the evolution of geometry. This is what the railing of Agra Fort looks like. This is some of the internal views. And this is where you can see floral jalis. This is where you start seeing less of geometry and more of floral jalis being evolved. Okay, like this. Yeah. The other one is like that, with calligraphy also involved in this. This is Itmat-ud-Dawla's tomb, again built during Jahangir. Jahangir's wife Noor Jahan built it for her father, who was the wazir in the court. And here also you can find this nested geometry. And also this pattern, what Marzia you were saying, is right here. This one, can you see? Yeah. The S-shaped pattern which she said. Yeah, it's there. So yeah, this is here. It's highly inlaid work, what you see in this. Yeah. This is an example of the inside of Taj Mahal. So where the tomb is, there is a screen, and that's where you see very ornate marble jalis, which you will see here. The last one, this is one of my favorite Mughal structure, I would say. Very less known, not many people know about this. But this, I think, is an epitome of the jalis or Mughal craftsmanship, I would say. So this is a tomb, again a Sufi saint's tomb called Muhammad Ghaus, who is Tansen's spiritual guide. So Akbar commissioned this project. So it was not that he was involved or overlooking this project, he commissioned it. This is in Gwalior, which is in Madhya Pradesh, not in where Akbar lived. So of course there were these craftsmen who kind of worked on it. And this is what it looks from outside, you won't realize it. But when you go closer, the entire envelope of the tomb is surrounded by these jalis. So there are approximately 29 panels which are there all across this, which has this very interesting geometric patterns. Okay, so I'll quickly, this is how it looks from outside. Of course, there's a lot of restoration works done, but yeah, but more or less this is how it is. So this is the view you get from inside. It's again a very humble scale. This is how the light filters in. This is a square plan of how it is. This entire, you can see the profile is where the arch panels are and where the jalis are. Okay, the entire envelope. So this is where this kind 5x4 grid, big arch panels you would see. The next ones are these small 3x5. Again, just look at the geometry. Majoritively, it is hexagon and octagons. I have not found decagon geometry yet, but I'm still documenting it. I'm still drawing it. So let me see if I can discover. And see how the edges are also kind of ornated in this. And this is the last one. These are those projected balconies, and this is how you have a floral patterns drawn on that as well. This is the inside view once you are going across. Again, it's yellow sandstone which they have worked on. And this is the kind of jalis which you see. If I go see this, if you observe that even though the geometry is different, there are different geometrical patterns, different scales of geometrical patterns, the openings are very controlled. Like, you know, it's not that suddenly you walk and one pattern is very large and a harsh light is coming through. So it is very controlled openings in all the patterns, very seamless when you walk through it. It's not that something is very large and then suddenly you'll find a glare. So when you're walking through, it looks the language is maintained, you know, even though the geometry is different, even though the scales of geometry is different. Few of the very interesting patterns you can see here. This is an octagon once. Yeah, this is how it looks from inside. These are very detailed, like close-up shots for us to see what kind of palette of geometry we have. This one. Very interestingly, this is one of the jalis where you observe that there is a peacock which is drawn on the top, which is very rare. You will not see it anywhere, which is where a bird is drawn or carved into jalis, but here the craftsmen have done it very subtly, blended into that smaller space because of the subdivisions of the grid. Again here, if you notice, it's a huge space from top to bottom. So there is an arch. To hold it, again it is subdivided, what we saw in the Gujarat style of architecture. But see how complex the geometry gets in that particular grid or in that particular box. Yeah. So yeah, this is it. Now, this is how I draw geometry. So I take a pattern. I do it on Geometr Sketchpad. That's the software I use. So I generally take a pattern like this. Understand that all the geometry is framed. Okay, it's not arbitrary. It will have edges. It's always concised in a particular frame, be it a square, be it a rectangle, any shape. It will always contain that. Okay, so I often frame. Then I look at symmetry, where I can find the line of symmetry, till I find the last unit. Okay, so if this is a pattern, it's symmetrical, half and half. I further divide this horizontally, half and half is symmetrical. Then I look at this one, again I draw the symmetrical line till I get the smallest unit, which is this one. Once I get that, I just have to repeat it. Because I do it digitally, it's easier for me to say that, but that's how you do it. You just have to repeat it and the whole pattern is created. So all I have to do when I look at this pattern is to find the smallest unit and try to just draw this. That's all. That's the technique I use to do it. Again, there are different methods to draw it, but this is the one I prefer and I use. So let's see. This is the one unit which we are drawing. I understand which family it falls under. So you can see octagon, so I know it's family of 4 and 8. So accordingly the subdivisions are made. I start with a square and the subdivisions are made. With those divisions I achieve this kind of pattern from there. If you notice, this is the pattern. This is exactly what I have got. And then if I repeat it 4 times, if I mirror it, I get this complete pattern which is drawn here. Okay, I do it digitally, so it is faster, of course. Yeah. And this is how further you repeat that unit further, you get this pattern. This is exactly the pattern which I shown you first, which is the nested geometry one. This was that similar pattern. Yeah. So this is the methodology I use when I decode geometry. So I take a pattern and these are the steps I follow. So sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's very complex, sometimes it's very easy solution, but you are so stuck in your daily methods that you can't find the answer. So like that, this is the final photographs of the outside view of the tomb. And this is also the next kind of my personal research project that I do. I pick up a monument which has a lot of geometric patterns and I document it and I draw it and I collect it. That's kind of my personal research which I do. So this is on the list now. So these are the evolutions of jalis which we saw from Gujarat to, this is I think in Akbar's tomb, and then over there is the final. I think it's very important. Also notice how how the edging of those patterns are done, you know. It's not just left like this, you know, even this particular band is what is being illuminated. So something, yeah. So this is the evolution of jalis in India. Yeah. Thank you. No compass, only a ruler and pencil and maybe a dark pen to highlight the geometry. And yourselves, yeah. This is Geometr Sketchpad, you don't need compass. So this is the software I use, which is the Geometr Sketchpad. Yes, yes, it's available online. The Geometr Sketchpad. Can I start?
Yes,
Yeah?
of course.
So if this is the pattern, the first thing I do is try to understand the symmetry line. You just have to observe. If you want, you can sketch on your sheet to do it. And this is the further symmetry. I further subdivide it for me to understand. You don't have to do this, you just observe. Yeah? So all I have to do, if you notice here, is just this. Yeah? Properties. Yeah? Oh, the color is not nice. These. Color. Yeah? So this is the only thing which I have to do or draw to get the entire pattern. Okay, which is like a plus sign, but it's a little in an angle. If you see, that's all what it has to do. If you notice that it's encased in a square. Okay, so the geometry or the basis of that would be square. So the first thing first is you will draw a square, which I have already drawn it for you. Yeah. Yeah, it's the smallest. That's what I did. So I subdivided all of this and came to the smallest unit, which, I mean, there can't be any further division than this. Shape. No, smallest, I would say pattern, smallest. I mean, it can't be more divided than this. But this can be then repeated. Okay? So this is what I came up with. Now, it's a square, and the way of doing it is that you take a square and you divide it in 3 parts, which I have also done it for you. So you can take like 9 centimeter square, divide by 3, 3, 3, but all the sides to be equal. It's basic, simple geometry which you can do. And what you need to do is connect this point to this and this point to this. This is exactly the same shape which we got here by just that particular connection. If I draw it on the other side, which the other square which I have done, just observe if you want. Transform, reflect. I'm mirroring it. And the pattern is done. Yeah? So if I take this, just one sec, I'll want to show you all something more. And I further reflect it. The entire pattern is done. Yeah? So the first pattern. So just try observing it, yeah. So this would be a mirror of this. So this line would go like this. And this line would come like this. So you can repeat it in the squares. You can use a grid book or something which has equal number of squares divided, and you can just evolve this pattern or complete the entire page with this pattern. It's very easy like that. Yeah? Can we move on to the next one? Yeah? Okay. Again, extremely easy pattern. I'm sure you'll be able to do this. Again, it's a square, very easy for you to identify. I don't have to draw symmetry lines here. It's that evident. Okay? If you notice, if I look at this particular square, if you notice there are 3 parts, 1, 2 and 3, which is exactly what I have divided that square in 3 parts, horizontal and vertical, right? So all you have to do is make a thin line like this. Just draw this grid line. Come on.
Desene bakarak haftayı çıkartmanızı öğretiyor hocam. Hatırlar mı? Yani en birinci tekrarlamak.
Yeah, has everyone drawn this? Yeah. Now, just try to draw this in that square. So you'll have this line coming only till here. Display color black. Yeah, this one. You'll have this line which connects only till here. This one connects till here. This one connects till here. And your pattern is done. Yeah. This is one of my favorite pattern. This one. It's very interesting. It's the same square which you did earlier, but it is in an angle. And it looks like it is intersecting, but like you see like this one, and then you can see like this one. You can see this one. It feels like it is intersecting into one another. But it's very unique and very easy to do it. Yeah, so again, it follows, since it has the same structure, again it's a square and it's been divided in 3 parts. But the way you connect it, so all you have to do is draw a square and divide it in 3 parts on the edge. Okay, then what you are supposed to do is just follow what I do here. This particular point, so you need an angle. Okay, what we are trying to do is, we are really trying to create this one. Okay, because it's easier to repeat. Once you repeat it, you will realize that it's easier to do that. Yeah. Okay, we are trying to create this particular pattern. Okay, it's the same square, but it is in an angle. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is you would connect this point, the third one here, to this end of this square, edge of the square. And parallelly this one to this edge. And you will do the similar thing horizontally. This one goes here, this one goes here. You can see the pattern. Which one do you want to know? This one? 18.43. It is actually, it should be 18 degrees.
I think there are different variations.
But I have another method as well, which I will show you. If this forms, then it gets, no. But this is actually the easiest way to achieve that. Easiest way. But if you, again, when you start analyzing it, you can go. In fact, the next one, which is on the top part, is the golden approximation. That's what I did. So, but I said I'll just show them, because then you can play with the size of the square. Because it's up to you how you want to.
So can I see a picture of that on the golden?
It's there on the top, the square on the top.
Yeah.
So
No, I thought a historical example.
No, all our examples are like this only. We have to analyze it. Yeah. So if I look at this pattern, okay, I have to understand how the framework of geometry is done, how this pattern has come.
Yes.
Okay, so for that, there is an invisible framework, okay, to draw. Okay, to draw this square or to draw this, you need to understand that there is one line, there is one line, there is one line.
And points.
So this is the framework, geometrical framework, which you and I don't see it.
It's original.
But you,
line, yes.
the craftsman, has drawn this. Okay, and then they have darkened this, and then they have cut the rest.
Okay. Thank you.
No, I mean you're right, because
How can we go on this pattern? How can we this one?
mirror it, symmetry. The principles are the same. Unit and then repeat it. Mirror it across the symmetrical line. That's what I'm trying to do, but I missed it. So you would then take this and you would mirror it on the bigger square. reflect. Yeah. And you will get this pattern. It's exactly like this. Yeah? It's clear? So now you can you see it if I drew the symmetrical line? Similar square which we did earlier, it's just in an angle. Yeah? So it's the same thing you got, it's just that the size of the square is a little smaller. Okay, but like that you can analyze, you can create your own patterns as well. You can kind of see if how much you want to subdivide it and then see what the difference in angles or the openings are. So this is open to analysis even further, but this is the most easiest way you can achieve this kind of a pattern, by just dividing it into 3 parts, drawing those angular lines, and you get that square which is tilted. Yeah? Yeah, can we move to the next one?
Yes.
Can you all try this pattern? Super easy pattern. Just again, all the patterns I've selected are square, in the family of square, and grid. So that you just have to make grids and the pattern emerges from there. Yeah. So if I look over here, let's draw the symmetrical line. You have further symmetry line here. I'm drawing all the symmetrical lines. It's very visible. This also is further divided. So all you have to do is just this pattern. Yeah? Can you all draw it? This one? Just use this particular square, the smaller square on the top. Yeah? Just draw your grid lines. Yeah? And then just observe how this pattern is formed here. Just observe this unit, okay? You have one tiny square which comes here. Color, black, display, line, medium. Okay, which is here. You have another square which comes here, which is subdivided. Another square which follows here. And then you have a diagonal. And this joins here. This is what you have got in the main smaller square, okay, which is the one marked in orange. That if you further reflect it, mirror it, you will get the larger pattern. Understand what grids you have made. The grid which is given to you is a framework on which the patterns are made. We go to the last one. So if you notice, this is also an octagon, So again, a family of 4 and 8, what we are doing. You can see it as, it's a rosette. Rosette means flower, yeah? And you call it 8-petal rosette, 8-fold rosettes. When you have 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes you have 6, you have 12, you have 10. So the first thing you generally do is you count the number of petals you have or the surfaces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or you see a square. So you immediately know, this becomes your clue that this belongs to a family of 4 and 8. So anytime you start drawing it, any angles you take would fall under that geometry or that bracket. Okay, so this is how you kind of, the first step to observe the pattern, right? Whenever you travel, you take a photo, count the number of sides it has, count the number of petals it has. That will give you clue as to how to begin. So you immediately know this is octagon, so it belongs to a family of 4. Preferably will start with a square. 99% of these geometrical patterns will start from that unit, would always be a square. If it is decagon or pentagon, it would be rectangle. If it is hexagon, it might be a rectangle also. If it is a hexagon, it might be a triangle also. So this becomes your first clue. So what I have done as my regular step is to observe the line of symmetry. So I'll draw it for you. This becomes one symmetrical axis. This becomes your symmetrical axis. This becomes your symmetry. This becomes your symmetry. Yeah? So this is what we have to do. Yeah? Can you see it can't be further divided than this. So all you have to do is find that smallest unit. Yeah? If you notice it very clearly, it is 1/4 of the octagon which is being formed. Okay, so this is a 1/4 of the octagon. You will find one petal and you will find one part of the square which is a smaller unit of that. Okay. So what I have done is the square which I have given you already has the geometrical framework which I have analyzed and I have made it for you, right? So the first thing first is I divided each side, each angle of that square into 4 parts. So 90 divided by 4 is where you get these angles, these lines, right? So this angle would be 90 divided by 4 and you do it and you rotate it 4 times. Okay, again because it belongs to the family of 4 and octagons, you do that. If it belongs to a family of 5, you divide it by 5. If it belongs to a family of 6, you divide it by 6. That's where you get the angles. Okay, and it will be accurate. I mean, there is no doubt in that. Yeah, this is easier to do because it's digital. Otherwise, you will have to draft it. Yeah, so I have marked it for you. So this is how, and I have divided 90 by 4 on all the 4 sides, right? If you notice this, it's done 90 by 4 is on this side, 90 by 4 on here, 90 by 4 here, 90 by 4 here. And I have just drawn the lines. Just sheer geometrical framework, you can observe an octagon which is already being formed here. We are not using that octagon, but just telling you that it is accurate in its own framework also. Yeah, if you observe it. So now, if you see notice this particular line which intersects on this line and it goes here, you get this 1/4 of an octagon which is formed. Yeah? So just draw with me. This is a little complex, but just draw with me. Yeah? So just first line, this one, just darken the lines. Here you don't have to draw anything, you just have to make the lines dark. Yeah? What we have got is 1/4 of the octagon. Is it clear? This one. What? Now if you observe these points here, this one and this one, I'll just make it large. And if I draw a line here, this becomes the line of that square. If you want to just make a note, you can just say that this angle is 90 degree divided by 4 times, just for your understanding. Yeah? Now, if you notice, there are these 2 smaller points which I've marked here for your reference. Yeah? So, all you have to do is select this point and let it meet this point, and let it meet this point. Yeah? So, it forms that one petal. And it also forms half petals over here, which becomes a part of the larger rosette. Okay, you all have done this. Now, if I repeat it, if I mirror it, reflect it, is what you get this pattern, right? You get it this one. Yeah? What we got is this. Okay? Yeah? But if this I reflected on the right side, but if I reflected it on the left side, same pattern, but if you have drawn it on the other side, you will get the complete star. It's just the matter of how you reflect it. Yeah? So even this, if you further reflect it, you will get the star. Eventually you will get the star. Oops, sorry. Yeah? So this is how you will get the star as well. Yeah? Thank you so much. Hope you... I thank Istanbul Design Center for inviting me to present my work, and it's been really pleasure to discuss, draw geometry. This is the first time I have used Geometer's sketchpad and the participant has actually drawn it by hand, and I thank Istanbul Design Center for it, and I really had fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed too. Thank you.